Sup, you chuckle fucks? It's your boy, Dark Ragu here with What If Issei became the Dragon Monarch Part 2. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to do this, but probably not going to be that long. Or probably it's going to be short, I don't know. But not the point. This is Part 2 of this What If. Part 3 will be whenever, but right now let me begin into Part 2. So yeah, now we begin into Part 2. This is where, well, mostly the school called Kuo Academy is going well, kind of. Mostly a lot of guys are right now kind of creaming their pants because of the new student. A new student who's actually a South Korean kind of, well, transfer student. She has longish blackish hair, kind of seems to be like the abyss, like her hair is actually close to that of the color of the abyss, mostly being just purely black. Her eyes are platinum blue. And of course, when she does get serious, her eyes does glow into a purplish color, a very darkish purplish color. And of course, behind her, if you actually do manage to piss her off, is a bunch of shadows, kind of like shadow soldiers, but you don't know that, just in case. But yeah. But she does have a nice, well, mostly a big kind of, mostly nice kind of like size of a body. Mostly she is a height of kind of like being 6'3", but of course her kind of, well, mostly busty areas a lot of people like, because a lot of people are perverts in this school. But yeah, but one person likes it more than anyone, and that is her actually boyfriend, that being a boy with kind of, well, mostly scarlet red hair, and of course scarlet red eyes, or mostly they're kind of ruby, but not the point. Mostly he has tannish skin, and of course he kind of looks like he was growing a beard until he kind of shaved it, but not the point. This is where, well, his name is none other than Issei, well, mostly used to be Issei Hiro, but now just Issei, or also known as, well, you can also call him Antares. That just means the previous kind of like Dragon Monarch successor power, that being the original. But yeah, now of course this is where, well, mostly his girlfriend's name is actually named, mostly is kind of South Korean, so of course, well, her name is Daejeon, and this is where, well, she kind of, it basically is South Korean, but not the point. This is where, well, she's right now kind of just dealing with the fact with Issei's kind of little, mostly dragon tendencies to slaughter anyone who dares kind of look at her. But yeah, of course she decides, but she's kind of happy that mostly Issei's kind of overprotective. Even though she can protect herself and can easily destroy any gods who actually will kind of piss her off, she is quite happy to believe that mostly Issei kind of mostly, not just his dragon tendencies, but just himself is quite overprotective. This is where, well, mostly she managed to get Issei's true side mostly open towards her only self and no one else. But yeah, she's actually quite happy to actually have that, but not the point. This is where, well, she's also quite, well, mostly kind of tsundere half the time, and doesn't really like showing off her true emotions, even if it's towards Issei. But Issei does know about her true, mostly emotions, and always tries to open it because, well, he likes the cute side. But yeah, this is where, well, we go into mostly, well, time skip into school. But yeah, because they actually got, well, from the house towards school. Now you see here, Danjay is actually can't fully walk. She feels quite hurt. She can barely feel her legs, and this is where, well, she's glaring at mostly Issei. Issei is whistling somewhere else and just looking at a wall, saying this wall is so much more interesting than mostly my lovely kind of girlfriend that can barely walk. So yeah, this is where, well, mostly when they get to school, a lot of guys are still lusting after her. But of course, where, well, Issei looks at them with such one glance of his like ruby eyes, and they all fucking run away because he's used a little bit of bloodlust to kind of get them away from him. Well, away from his girlfriend. But yeah, mostly away from his mate / girlfriend, but not the point. Now, his girlfriend is mostly the successor to Shadow Monarch, while he is actually the successor to Dragon Monarch. So she's the successor of being death, while Issei is the successor of being destruction, but not the point. This is where, well, they go into school, and of course, lots of girls are still lusting after kind of Issei, even though Issei was considered to be one of the perverted trio. Now, with mostly Daijin actually noticing this, she uses a bit of her bloodlust called Death's Touch. While Issei's mostly bloodlust isn't just called Death's Touch, it's actually called Dragon's Roar, or mostly, yeah, not Dragon's Roar. Well, kind of, it's called Dragon's Fear a little bit, but not the point. This is where, well, he can actually stun anyone and actually make them fearful of him. But yeah, but this is where, well, mostly people kind of don't want to like get near both of them. They are quite deadly. Even the supernatural avoids them entirely. Now, mostly one person doesn't actually avoid them, actually does confront them a lot. That being Sona Sifri. Now, Sona is not really a part of the school and goes to Kuo, mostly college, but she still needs to kind of figure out who's going to replace mostly Sanji for his stupidity. But yeah, of course, well, she really wishes that, well, Sanji wasn't stupid enough to do a bunch of stupid shit. Now, of course, he lost his sacred gear thanks to mostly Issei being able to rip out the sacred gear and give it to another person. That person is a guy with kind of like mostly palish, kind of purplish hair color. This is where, well, his name was, well, so his name is Mitsuri, and this is where, well, Mitsuri is not going to give, like, the sacred gear called Viltra towards Sanji back again, because mostly Viltra himself doesn't want to be with Sanji, and mostly he has a hatred towards Sanji, and even Mitsuri has a very hatred towards Sanji. So basically, they can agree on one thing. They actually have some things in common, but that's not the point here. There. Does it work well? Mostly Viltra and mostly Mitsuri are actually quite a good compatible. Now, there is Natsu, mostly, there's also Noctis, who is, well, mostly his sacred gear has, well, Chrome Crush, and they are both bloodthirsty murderers half the time, because they are really wanting to beat the shit out of mostly Sanji, but Sanji is out of their grasp, but when they get to do it, they're gonna fucking murder him. This time, they're gonna show him what's good, motherfucker. But yeah. Now, that's not the point here or there, but yeah. Now, with that happening, we go into mostly, well, that whole situation happening. There's actually 5 evil dragons sacred users in total in the school. Now, they all are different people. Mostly, the 2 of them I already mentioned. Now, the other 3 are basically different mostly sacred gear evil dragon users. Now, how did they get the evil dragon sacred gear users? It's thanks to Issei. Issei has a power of mostly the dragon Monarch. He can revive, well, dead dragons without even a care. He can actually revive them. Now, they would actually be kind of in their they would have been in their normal form, but he actually turned them into sacred gears because he had an idea on how sacred gears kind of work. Actually, no, he had a full-on blown idea on how they work. He wanted to revive Drake one time, but mostly he found out that Drake is actually alive, but not fully. He's actually a sacred gear. He turned into a sacred gear thanks to Michael, which made Issei quite pissed off, thanks to the fact that Michael is screwing him over. But that won't take too long because he's going to screw Michael over for pissing him off. But yeah. Now, he might accidentally just crush Michael because, well, fuck you. But yeah. But that's not the point here or there. Now, we go into mostly Issei and even Danjun kind of just seeing, well, Sona. Sona actually questioned both, well, not questioned, mostly asked both of them to come to the underworld, while Issei basically didn't really care about going to the underworld and refuses to go because, well, yeah, fuck that. And of course, Danjun just looks at her with just an uncaring expression. Of course, she can barely walk. And this is where, well, Sona actually notices, and her face only became red because she actually remembers what Issei and mostly Danjun were actually talking about yesterday. And this is where, well, mostly she kind of gets embarrassed most of the time. Mostly Sona. This is where, well, Danjun is actually wanting to walk, but that's where she can barely feel her legs. So, of course, Issei is trying to help her out. But, yeah. Now, of course, Issei can heal at any time. And even Danjun can actually heal at any time. But mostly, she has to act like she's kind of being a little bit stubborn. Thinking that it's pretty much fine and she doesn't need any help. But, yeah. Now, of course, we go into mostly Issei and Danjun about to, like, get their class. But this is where Sona had it to just sigh, and this is where, well, she made a magic circle of both around mostly Issei and Danjun. This is where both of them gets teleported, but this is where they glare at Sona and instantly a murderous glaze, mostly not murderous glaze, a murderous gaze. Now this is where Sona felt the murderous gaze and felt like if she probably didn't do this, they would not go after her and try to kill her. But that's not the point here or there. Now, we go into mostly, well, both Issei and mostly Danjun appearing in the underworld. Now, of course, this is where Danjun knows that she won't be able to, well, what's it called? Well, mostly live normally. So of course, she does summon one of her shadow soldiers to heal her. Now, this is where, well, it's actually mostly Beru to actually heal her. But yeah. This is where, well, before they actually continue on with what the hell is happening, this is where, well, multiple double soldiers actually appear. This is where, well, these double soldiers say, "Who are you people?" This is where, well, they're actually from the Sifri kind of, well, not Sifri. Well, yeah, they're from the Sifri clan and the Levite clan. Mostly doubles, and this is where, well, Issei said, "We just got teleported here, and yet we're getting attacked. You pathetic, annihilating weaklings." This is where, well, mostly Issei was about to do Dragon of Destruction Breath until mostly Dungeon Man to stop him and say, "Stop it. No need to hurt them." This is where, well, one of them throws a spear, which almost hits her in the eye, but this is where Issei managed to catch it. And this is where Issei snaps the spear in an instant. "You son of a bitch." This is where, well, Issei didn't care at this point. He launches an attack, a breath attack. And this is where, well, he annihilated almost all of them and destroyed a huge pathway of destruction. This is where, well, mostly Issei glares at mostly Dungeon, but Dungeon kind of acts kind of submissive around when Issei did that. She was blushing and trying to hide her kind of embarrassment. She almost got caught too lacking. And this is where, well, Better was kind of just seeing this and just kind of wondering, what is happening? Which mostly he knows about the dragon, mostly the dragon Monarch and his own master, and this is where, well, he's trying to wondering what is the relationship between these two. But yeah, shouldn't they be enemies or what or whatever? This is where, well, mostly we go into mostly Issei kind of saying, "Move out of the way, Beru." Beru does kind of nod it, moving out of the way of the dragon Monarch. And this is where, well, Issei puts his hand around mostly Dungeon's kind of back, and this is where Dungeon says, "What are you doing?" This is where, well, she feels kind of warm, and of course, she's actually being healed. And this is where, well, Dungeon looks at him very embarrassed and submissive kind of look. This is where, well, Issei said, "That submissive side of yours looks kind of cute on you." This is where Issei kind of grins at her. Of course, he gets slapped in the face and says, "Ow, I'm just kidding." This is where, well, Dungeon says, "Don't you dare say that ever again out loud, jackass." This is where, well, Issei said, okay, I'm kidding. Whatever. Let's just keep going. This is where, well, mostly someone actually appears, and it's none other than Seraphol. Seraphol says, "Who are you people?" This is where, well, she had a very angry aura, and of course, at the same time, nervous aura, because, well, she just sees this huge line of destruction through the kind of Sifri kind of like what's it called, territory. And it was made none other by a huge dragon, but yet the huge dragon should be around here and be easily to spot it. But she found instead Dungeon and even Issei. This is where, well, Seraphol says, "Who are you two?" This is where, well, Issei says, "My name, well, I'm not gonna tell you. You're just a filthy devil." This is where Dungeon kind of steps on his foot, and this is where Issei says, "Ow! What the hell, Dungeon?" This is where Dungeon says, "My name is Dungeon." This is where, well, mostly Seraphol nodded, and this is where, well, "And this is Issei, my lovely boyfriend." This is where, well, Issei says, "Yes, the name's Issei." This is where, well, mostly Seraphol won her eyes after hearing Issei's name. This is where, well, Seraphol rushes up to Issei and says, "Issei!" This is where she wanted to hug him, but before even trying to hug him, Beru actually appears right now, stopping her in an instant, because mostly Dungeon was actually quite annoyed from this kind of, whoever this, what's it called, this bitch is trying to hug her own boyfriend. And she became quite jealous, with mostly Issei actually noticing this and having a little smirk towards mostly Dungeon. Dungeon's face becomes red and just looks away. This is where, well, Issei says, "Oh, don't look away. I love that cute face of yours when you're blushing." This is where, well, Dungeon kind of just screw off already. I'm not doing anything. This is where, well, she acting kind of more tsundere and other things, which Issei really doesn't mind because it's actually so fucking cute for him. But yeah, but we go into mostly time skip of mostly Seraphol kind of getting pushed away from Beru. Well, not Beru, mostly getting pushed away from mostly both of the Monarchs. And of course, this is where, well, Seraphol says, "Issei, where have you been?" This is where she screams out. This is where, well, mostly Seraphol did also contact like Surgex and like the others, but not the point. This is where, well, Surgex appears, and of course he sees what's it called, the massive destruction. He sees Issei just standing there, and also some girl just standing next to him. This is where, well, Issei's trying to grab her hand and trying to hold it, while mostly Dungeon isn't trying to do that because it was kind of be embarrassing. But yeah, this is where, with all that happening, mostly Surgex can just get a good idea. Thanks to the girls cheating on him, maybe Issei already found someone and decided to just become one man. Well, mostly a one-man girl instead of having like a harem or any of that, just a single girlfriend. But yeah, which he mostly became saddened, but of course he became kind of happy, but doesn't know why there's a huge ass destruction of the attack. Was that Issei or was that the girl? But they feel both just strong at the same time. Even though their auras are suppressed, they feel to be like almost high-class devils. That's where, well, mostly Surgex can't really be too, like, not, well, too off guard. He will have to be always on guard around them because he can't tell around Issei's kind of face. His face is showing emotionless and kind of angry look, while mostly Dungeon is kind of showing an emotionless face and doesn't really care. That's where, well, mostly Surgex can probably realize that mostly Issei doesn't know about the whole cheating bullshit, and of course, well, probably the other betrayment. This is where, well, Surgex decides to walk towards him, and this is where, well, Seraphon says, Issei, let me hug you. I really want to hug you. Who are you anyway? She tries to freeze the Shadow Soldier, but the Shadow Soldier is not affected too much. This is where she's getting angry and saying, what the hell are you anyway? This is where Dungeon says, that's my soldier. I'm not letting you hug my boyfriend, you slut. This is where, well, Dungeon kind of said with such an angry tone. This is where, well, Seraphon says, huh? Are you saying you two are dating? Well, maybe I'll be better than you. This is where, well, Issei says, not really. You won't be even better than her. Besides, she's so much better in bed than you ever could be. You would probably easily break. This is where, well, mostly Seraphon and even Dungeon's face becomes a little red after hearing what Issei said. So confidently, at the same time, not realizing that he just, like, decides to screw his girlfriend over again. This is where Dungeon, like, hits his foot again. Issei says, ow, why? This is where Issei kind of, like, kneels down and, of course, trying to, like, heal his foot. Well, mostly his foot. And this is where, well, mostly Dungeon says, idiot. Her face is all red, and, of course, she's just, like, having a fist. Mostly her hand is kind of clenched, and this is where she says, idiot, idiot, idiot. This is where, well, Issei says, damn it. That hurts. This is where, well, mostly Surgex says, crimson red hair. Issei looks up with a very murderous gaze. Of course, his eyes went mostly slick, and of course, they were basically ruby. And this is where Issei says, it's not fucking crimson, it's fucking scarlet, you bastard. This is where, well, Surgex says, oh, scarlet red hair. Oh, okay. I thought you were copying your, like, older. This is where Issei says, I do not believe you to be my older brother. Actually, you're not my older brother or even my father figure, so don't mistake me or you to be either brother-in-law or either father figure, because I don't really see you as a father figure. This is where, well, Surgex says, okay, I got shut down so fast, what the hell? But then again, Rhea's disagree over, so I can't really say much. He's saying this all in his head, so of course, not to say it out loud. And this is where, well, Issei can read minds, and this is where, well, he looks at mostly Surgex and says, oh, yes, I should mention, yes, your sister did screw me over. She decided to screw some other guy. What was his name? Oh, yeah, Vali. And when I find Vali, I'm gonna rip his fucking sacred gear out and then beat the shit out of him with his own fucking skull when I ripped it out of his fucking head. How will you... never mind. This is where... oh, mostly Surgex says, come on, Issei, can't you forgive and forget? No, I can only forget and, well, mostly I can only murder and forget, because that's the only destruction path I can go on. This is where, well, mostly Surgex says, well, I can't let you do that. I cannot let you murder my sister just yet. This is where, well, Issei says, is that so? His power rises up to being that of a Dragon King in an instant. Instead of being a high-class devil, he's now a Dragon King level. This is where, well, mostly, Surgex isn't afraid too much until Issei starts kind of rising his power even more. He crushes the ground when he steps on the ground. His aura started exploding. This is where his reddish aura is actually exploding. It's kind of scarlet red, but not the point. This is where, well, he's walking towards Surgex, and his aura keeps just expanding. To that of a heavenly dragon. To that of even a dragon god. And this is where, well, it keeps just going up and up. This is where, well, mostly Surgex widening his eyes and seeing how powerful Issei is entirely. He's no longer the same kind of reddish, well, mostly not reddish haired boy. Mostly the brownish haired boy who was always kind and friendly. And didn't really pick a fight with anyone. Even if people tried to even pick a fight with him. Even the fact that this perverted boy was always kind of perverted, at the same time friendly and gentle and other things. And of course, the only time he would ever pick a fight if people get hurt around him. But this kid is actually much more pissed. His energy is similar to that of destruction, but much more like surpassing Surgex. This is where, well, Surgex right now tries to use his own aura, but this is where, well, his aura is right now being suppressed and destroyed in an instant. This is where, well, mostly Issei gets close to Surgex, and this is where Issei says, Dragon Fear. Dragon Fear Roar. This is where, well, he right now uses his skill on Surge X, and Surge X's body freezes up in an instant. Right now, he cannot move, just like, he can't move, he can't look anywhere, he can just only look straight. He is frozen. This is where every other, like, Mal kind of freezes up, because they weren't even close, but yet they got affected with it. This is where Jonathan is sighing, saying, Issei, don't kill them. Issei said, I know I won't kill them. I only want to scare the shit out of them, realizing that their powers are nothing to me. This is where, well, was the dungeon sighs and says, okay, fine. This is where, well, he says, other than that, I do have some business here in the underworld, and that is Gorgorio. So, would you love to accompany me, my lovely, beautiful girlfriend? This is where, well, Issei kind of puts his arm right in front of Mostly Dungeon. Dungeon sighs and says, fine, but no killing. Oh, of course, I won't be killing. This is where, well, Issei summons out like mostly 5 other red magic circles around him, or mostly portals, gates, and this is where it's kind of pulling in what's it called? 5 evil dragons out of the gate. And it's none other than the kind of like students who are considered to be having evil dragon sacred gears. They were confused, but this is where, well, mostly they had like a 6th person, but the 6th person don't really have any sacred gears. This is where, well, Issei said, huh? Hey, who's that guy? This is where, well, they said, this is the guy that we were about to, like, kind of get him away from some of the girls, because they kind of mistake him for being one of the perverted trio, or mostly the perverted duo, and yeah. This guy kind of has kind of glasses, and this is where, well, the guy kind of has, like, bluish, kind of, like, somewhat bluish, kind of, like, somewhat lizardish eyes. They're kind of close to a lizard, and this is where, well, he does kind of have, like, this grayish hair color, and this is where, well, he's like, I don't know what is happening. This is where, well, Issei seems that he has actually a connection to that of mostly he almost has a connection to that of mostly Albion, which is confusing because Missouri also has a connection to that of, well, mostly Viltra, but of course he decides to tell them to just kind of just bring him with them. This is where, well, they're confused at what is happening, but this is where, well, Issei says, oh, we're going to Gorgorio. And all you evil dragons are going to beat the shit out of fallen angels. And you guys are much more powerful than just a normal evil dragon, the one that you just fought Sanji. Some of them are going to be experienced, but you guys are going to have some immortality. And you guys are just going to, by yourself, to fight against, well, Gorgorio. Okay, now let's go. This is where, well, all of them say, we don't have any wings. This is where, well, he says, activate your wings. It's not that hard. You can easily talk to your dragon. This is where, well, they actually managed to activate their wings. Now, of course, to where, well, mostly the guy who is actually confused and saying, what about me? Issei sighs and just kind of commanded a dragon soldier to come out of nowhere of a gate. It's a big dragon. This is where he just tells to call the person to get on. This is where, well, Issei is right now having, well, mostly no dragon wings. He can just fly without dragon wings. And of course, Danjin is actually kind of just being next to Issei, flying without wings either. This is where, well, mostly Battle is kind of being next to her, and yeah. Now we go into the Gorgorio. Now, of course, this is where, well, Sir Six sighs because he knows what's going to happen to the Gorgorio. But would he be able to stop it when Issei is just powerful? This is where, well, Issei says, okay, time for plan, well, mostly step 2. This is where, well, all of them say, what is step 2? Go and attack them. This is where, well, all of them kind of narrowed their eyes, and then nodded, and then they kind of all have bloodthirsty grins. This is where, well, mostly Nox decides to attack first. This is where he appears with golden armor, with golden black armor, and this is where he decides to claw at the 2 fallen angel guards, right now killing them. This is where, well, the others decide to start attacking. Now, the dragon that right now has the guy who's actually seems to be almost connected to Albion, seems to, well, be up there. Now, this is where, well, he's just kind of sitting up there, the dragon. And this is where the dragon soldier says, what about us? Or what about the other dragons? Oh, do not worry. I will summon you out. Actually, I should start summoning you out before, well, Lord Azazel, whatever his goddamn name is again, that bastard, Lord of a shithead most of the time, decides to try to escape. This is where he summoned gates and multiple dragons start appearing. This is where, well, Danjin is watching this, and of course, she really doesn't care. She's still holding on to Issei's hand, and of course, trying to not seem too embarrassed, which she's failing so horribly, but yeah. Which Issei notices, but he's right now more distracted and actually killing, well, Azazel, but yeah. For the betrayal and other shit, but yeah. But this is where, well, we go into mostly Issei kind of, well, mostly kind of just telling the dragons to kind of be on hold while 5 evil dragons are rushing in there. Which that is happening. 5 evil dragons are right now beating the shit out of some of the fallen angels. Now this is where when Azazel managed to get out of his office, he kind of gets out with 2 girls. This is where, well, one being that name was a called, being a drunken kind of what's it called, Weiss, and the other one kind of being, well, someone from I'm gonna just say the light novel. The light novel. Not the point. This is where, well, mostly they kind of get out, and this is where, well, as it says, what a beautiful. This is where, well, he noticed what's it called, like 5 presents that he never expected to see again, and there's none other than the evil dragons. Even this sends Viltra kind of being like running towards him. This is where, well, mostly not noticed what's it called, the most golden and black hair kind of person. Well, name what's it called, Azazel, and he says, "We found him! Get him!" This is where, well, before Azazel can even use a magic circle, his magic just gets disrupted thanks to Viltra. This is where mostly thanks to the Viltra user who uses his tentacles to grab what's it called, Azazel, and try to absorb his magic, which he's managing to absorb it all until Azazel says, "Damn it! These guys are much stronger." This is where he then calls out towards Weiss and the others, and this is where the other tries to use her magic, but this is where, well, she gets instantly knocked out by 2 evil dragon users, and this is where, well, mostly Crom Crush appears right now, clocking the shit out of Azazel. This is where Weiss is just still drunken, and of course she would have attacked, but this is where she slipped and fall and knocked herself out. Which almost all of them sweatshops at this, but they did not care. They instead just grab those 3 and then rushes out. But this is where Baraku and even someone who is supposedly the new leader of what's it called, the Fallen Angel, saw this and tries to stop them. But of course, is where a very powerful dragon appeared right in front of them from a dragon gate. Mostly not a dragon gate, but just a normal reddish scarlet gate. This guy seems to be having like this silverish kind of scales, this kind of silverish helmet, and having crimson red eyes. This is where he roars at these leaders, and this is where, well, other fallen angels saw this and tries to attack. They use light spirits and other shit, and they didn't actually affect this dragon. This dragon's scales are not affected too much by anything. He's actually mostly like an ancient dragon. He does kind of have a beard, but not the point. He's somewhat in humanoid form, but not the point. It's humanoid kind of hybrid, but yeah. Kind of looks like a human, kind of looks like a dragon, but not the point. It's hybrid, but not the point. This is where the dragon disappears from right now, punching the shit out of Baraku, and of course appearing right in front of what they call Shamsayil, I think that's his name, and of course deciding to kind of hit him in the back, well, mostly kind of clock them out with the back of his hand. And this is where other fallen angels try to attack, but this is where he pulls out a sword to just kind of rip through with him instantly. But yeah. This is where, well, not the point. We go outside and we go into Azazel kind of fully waking up, thanks to a lightning tase. Now, of course, this lightning tase was from mostly another dragon appearing next to him, and this time this dragon is actually part of the dragon army. And this is where, well, mostly Azazel was confused until he looks up and sees, well, mostly a guy with scarlet red hair and of course mostly ruby red eyes, and a girl next to him kind of being, well, quite beautiful, and mostly Azazel's kind of words. This is where, well, Issei noticed Azazel's kind of staring at his girlfriend, which mostly Issei kind of just stands in front of her, and this is where Azazel gets disappointed. But this is where, well, he wasn't any more disappointed when he got a fucking kick to the chest so hard. This is where, well, he coughed up blood in an instant. This is where, well, he was on his like hands and knees right now coughing up blood, because it was none other from a different dragon kicking him in the chest. This is where, well, the dragon says, "Do not ignore our lord. If you dare to ignore him once again, I will chop your head off right now for disrespect." This is where, well, Issei raises up his hand, just trying to tell him to stop. This is where, well, the dragon nodded and says, "Yes, sir." This is where, well, what about the other 2? The girl whose name was Azazel and the other, well, you can throw them into the dragon pit and see how they will work without their fallen angel, sir, whatever the fuck he is. This is where, well, they both nodded, and this is where Azazel says, "Stop it! You don't know who they actually belong to. They are the kind of girlfriends, and of course, the brave person who the hero of the faction is. You will get him mad, and he will kick your ass." Okay. Sorry about the Rickroll song. It's basically my not cousins, mostly my siblings kind of like basically ringtone, because I know they're going to be annoying as fuck, so that's why I put it there. But that's not the point here or there. This is where, well, mostly Azazel's kind of saying, Do you know who they are? They are the girlfriends of mostly and slash fiancés of mostly Issei Haidu. You know, if you would piss off the red dragon, this is where, well, Issei started bursting into laughter and saying, so you're saying they're basically my fiancés. Sorry, I don't really have fiancés. I have one fiancé. And this is right here, my girlfriend. This is where he kind of puts his arm around Danjin. Danjin's face becomes red and tries to hide it into mostly her hands. And of course, mostly kind of cover or bury her face into mostly Issei's chest. And this is where, well, mostly has a one in his eyes saying, You're Issei. This is where, well, this is where Issei says, oh, of course. Did you just realize that, idiot? Also, you do realize I do know what you did to those girls. And I do know that they actually decided to follow you. Well, Azazel, just realize this. I am much more stronger than you think. You will never be able to hurt me at all. So, I will just kill you now, since I am now the Dragon of Destruction. I am the Dragon Monarch of Destruction, the successor of it. Now, hope you like running away from 3 ancient dragons. Okay? Good luck with that. This is where, well, I was gonna say, what are you, this is where, well, he gets his arms right now broken in an instant thanks to the, well, other dragon that was next to him. And this is where, well, one of the evil dragons also helped being that of Not. Not kind of says, come on, I hope you like your arm being broken. This is where, I was like, get away from me, bruh. His arm is right now shattered. And this is where, well, he growls at the kid. And this is the kid is having such a sinister grin, saying, aw, did I hurt you? Oh, that's too pathetic then. Whatever. This is where, well, mostly Azazel sees a gate appear right in front of him, a red gate, and this is where, well, he says, no, you can't do this, you, Issei, what about the other girlfriends? What about, didn't I just tell you, I have no girlfriends, I only have one girlfriend and one fiancé, and this is Danjin right here, she's my lovely girlfriend, and the one to actually have my children later on. This is where, well, Issei kind of puts her kind of like, well, mostly uses his hand to kind of lift her chin up towards his, like, eye level. And this is where, well, Danjin's face is all red and kind of angry at Issei for the fact that basically he admitted a lot of secrets. And this is where, well, the other dragons kind of heard this, even the evil dragons. And this is where, well, also, mostly Danjin's kind of shadow soldiers, which mostly she does kind of tell her shadow soldier to close her eyes and just not hear what they're doing half the time when they're in their private times. But this is where, well, mostly Azazel wine his eyes. Her supposedly having her children. This is where, well, as it says, well, if that slut is going to have your children, well, she's probably going to be so pathetic. And this is where, before he even says anything, a shadow soldier appears right now, kind of grabbing Azazel and into this, none other than Beru. You call my what's it called, my leader a weakling? I shall rip your head off right now. This is where Danjin says, Beru, no. This is where, well, Issei says, Beru, yes. This is where, well, mostly Danjin glares at Issei, and this is where Issei says, come on, Danjin, just let him have fun a little bit. Beru, how about you break his legs, and then, we call that a day. This is where Beru understood, and this is where he stabbed both of Azazel's legs. This is where Azazel screams, and, this is where, well, mostly Danjin kind of just decides to lay on Issei's kind of chest, and says, you're such a psychopath murderer, aren't you? This is where Issei says, of course, when anyone dares to threaten my girlfriend, my lovely wife, the one who's going to bear multiple of my children. This is where, oh, Danjin says, I thought you say one. This is where he says, oh, come on, can't we just have a little more? This is where Danjin glares at Issei. This is where, well, Issei said, okay, fine, one. This is where, well, mostly everyone else is just watch off. And this is where, well, as it says, you can't do this to me, Issei. I am one of the leaders of the fallen angel. This is where, well, Issei says, I don't care if you're the leader of the fallen angels. You dare piss off me and my girlfriend. So for that, good luck, and be banished to that, mostly that realm. Don't worry, other dragons could join in and beat the shit out of you. I can even allow this, I can even allow Not to even go in there and just beat the shit out of you and hunt you down like a little rabbit. This is where Not says, really? I can't? This is where Issei says, no, you can't. This is where Not says, oh, come on. You can't just do this to me. You got my hopes high up. Don't worry, you get to beat the shit out of someone else. This is where, well, Not says, oh, really? Who is it? Some white-haired prick. Don't worry about it. Wait, you mean him? No, he might have a connection to Albion, but it's not him. Yeah, he doesn't have any DNA closer connection connected to that of mostly, well, let's just say, well, Valerie, or not Valerie, mostly Volley. This is where, well, he just says. This is where, well, he just says, other than that, we should probably be going. Throw him into the Dragon Gate. This is where, well, mostly the Dragon nodded and just throws Azazel into it, and Azazel says, "You son of a!" This is where I should also mention Russell Weiss and the other one has already been dead thanks to the dragon just kind of eating them and killing them in an instant, but yeah. But that's not the point here, there. This is where, well, Issei says, "Well, it's time to be going then." This is where, well, he tells all the dragons to get back into the Dragon Gate, or mostly the gate, and this is where, well, the reddish kind of Scarlet Gate, a giant gate, and this is where they all kind of fly into it. This is where, well, a dragon knight that was actually the one to break Azazel's arm, one of them kind of says, "Do you want me to also go?" This is where, well, Issei says yes. This is where another dragon gate appears inside the mostly Gargoyle to actually kind of get the ancient dragon to leave. This is where, well, mostly every fallen angel was pretty damn hurt. They could barely do anything. This is where, well, all that happening, we go into a time skip of mostly Issei and mostly the dungeon kind of going back to the human world and deciding to go back to the house. Now, of course, Issei is kind of wanting to kind of have a little bit more fun with her. This is where, well, dungeon says, "No, let me just go to sleep." But yeah. But other than that, I'll be leaving it off here for kind of part 2 of this. What if part 3 being later? And yes, part 3 will be when Folly is actually going to get his ass kicked on the 6th way on the damn Sunday. But that's not the point here or there. But other than that, bye, see you, and bye.